is William K. Murtaugh. I'm Witness 1 Live. And today I'm going to discuss an accusation. Now, there is an individual who goes by the handle Agent Margaritaville who was arrested in Canada quite recently. Prior to his arrest, Agent Margaritaville sat down for an interview with another Canadian individual and discussed certain individuals. And one of the individuals was Field McConnell. Another was someone we all affectionately call Timmy Hoffa. And there were some other people named. And, of course, there are accusations swirling around about Agent Margaritaville, quite frequently by a supporter, Randy Lynn Erickson, of Timmy Hoffa, about Agent Margaritaville. Now, this back and forth between the Hoffa group and the Margaritaville individual has been going on for quite some time, and there really hasn't been a clear understanding of why. A lot of people chalked it up to Timmy Hoffa being jealous of anyone doing what he claims to be doing, and that is trying to end abuses of various kinds against children. But perhaps there's something more sinister going on as to why there has been this unfettering criticism of Agent Margaritaville. As it turns out, when you listen to this excerpt, you are going to see that Agent Margaritaville is accusing Timmy Hoffa of being a fraud. And not only is he accusing Timmy Hoffa of being a fraud, he seems to be accusing Timmy Hoffa and other people of embezzlement. And that embezzlement would be to the tune of $700,000, or getting quite close to $1 million. Now, there is no proof of this, of course, other than a phone call that was made and an interview on YouTube. And we go back to what has Timmy Hoffa used as evidence against people: text messages and phone calls and interviews. Hearsay. Which this all is hearsay. So I'm going to present this brief interview with a disclaimer that this is the opinion of Margaritaville. It is solely his opinion. He is solely responsible for his comments. And I am rebroadcasting this as a public service.
An interview that I gave February 23rd of 2020, and I had a chance to sit down with Agent Margaritaville, and he spilled the beans on what the Children's Army is about, what they're doing, and he names names in this one. So I guess disclaimer: these allegations, these opinions are those of Agent Margaritaville alone and do not necessarily reflect those of Facts versus Feelings or YouTube. So I'm sitting down with an individual that I just met yesterday, but he's been making some waves on social media, and after asking him some simple questions, finding out what his activities are, what his goals are, and pluses and minuses, so to speak. A good way to say. He sort of checks out, but I want to talk to him further, and that's why I'm inviting you to talk to him with me, I guess.
So in 2018, I approached Field and I said, listen, I have this idea, let's get on Skype and we'll talk about it. So we talked about it, and I said, in terms of what you do, you can do this. You can get the word out. We can get do some hats and t-shirts and paraphernalia, and set it up with some sort of online place where people can go buy the shirt so they can wear it, right? And then if they paid $20 for a shirt, $2 would go somewhere. So if we have people that need to get on an airplane and go somewhere, people that need a hotel room to go somewhere, to help the work of the Children's Army, we've got some resources. Because I really wasn't feeling like putting a hat in. You know, if people want the shirt, then
I fully get funding and everything that goes.
So we could set up an actual business to do this, right? So the reason this came about was I went on the Able Danger program and talked with the audience, and they had 100% positive response. Everybody wanted it.
Nobody's, well, it's the Children's Army. Like, nobody's, what, are you against pedophilia? Are you against child molestation? And fuck you. Like, come on, anybody with
Well, you have to
a semblance of decency is going to jump behind you.
You've got to,
except for if you're in the government.
You got to be aware that the people that we're dealing with are not well. So there was some nomenclature issues, and they rebranded it as the Children's Crusade. And I still don't have a hat, by the way.
I know, you mentioned that yesterday. You mentioned that yesterday.
Even a fucking t-shirt. However, what they did do was they woke up about 1 million or 2 million people to at least the thought that there's something they need to look at. And to me, that was fine. And then along came this Timothy Homestead guy. And again, like often happened with Field, I'd get an email and Field would say, I'm going to introduce you to Margaritaville, and this guy has, this and this and this, and he's got these people, and he's got this group of people, and
it's a dump. It is. It literally is. When you make contact with another entity that has their own network, it's a blitzkrieg of information. You got to go through it.
Well,
you got to vet.
Except that I don't work that way. I work completely differently than that. Yeah, the only reason people trust me is because I tell the truth. B, if I don't know it, I'll let you know I don't know it.
Oh, no.
Right? If I believe something, I'm going to be clear that it's something I believe rather than it's something I know.
Well, that's like the difference between a knowledgeable man and a wise man, right? A
knowledgeable
man will tell you anything. And a wise man will say, you know what?
I've got a criminal record and spent 17 months in the same county detention center as where they camped Russell Williams out in for a while.
Okay, so back to Timothy Homestead. Where exactly does he fit in?
Well, all I know is around July, I did some shows with Field, and he was part of what was going on with shows. I never listened to Able Danger. I don't have time. Okay. From the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I've been doing this, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. We haven't necessarily come out and told them. Yeah. We actually flashed the logo just to let them know there are actually. If you have one of these original Children's Army T-shirts from Able Danger USA, it's probably going to be a collector's item someday. Okay. But we just went underground and kept doing what we were doing. We've been mining, and I've been on the program, and I've been telling people what we've been doing, but nobody's been caring, and that's good.
It is. It is. The more under the radar you get, the more exposure.
So this Homestead guy came in on the scene, and people kept sending me stuff about him, and Field sent me an email and introduced me to him and said, this guy's got a network and he's got a lot of support and blah, blah, blah. And you should talk. And I did what I always do. I just wrote back and I said, hi, Tim, nice to meet you. And, here's my number, here's my Skype. Just the way it works, just give me a text.
Initial contact. Yeah.
Give me a text and we'll set up a time and I'll give you my ears, right? So this Homestead guy came on the scene. And the next thing I know, out of the blue, I did a show with Field, and they were going on about this lawyer Picasso, and everybody anything I've ever heard from Able Danger up until this point in time, you could pretty much take to the bank. Yeah. Because the way it works is if you're full of shit, talking to people that are whispering into McConnell's ear in 2017, you're going to get outed because there's a whole bunch of Marines listening. There's people from just about every airport in the world are part of that network. Yeah. There's a whole lot of information. If you ever wonder what they can really do, don't take a look on my channel, and I got some video, and this came off of a phone of a guy. I mean, they're talking serious shit that can be done. Yeah. So Field McConnell just does his briefing, and he puts his hats on, and he does his things, and there's people that know what that means. I don't pretend to know what all that stuff meant. I just was on the show 6 times. So he's talking and changing his hat and doing stuff. and they all know what it means, and then there's a whole bunch of people that are just follow it, and they love Field, they love his sense of humor. There's a bunch of Christians, a bunch of great Christian people out there that follow it as well, because Field's a Christian and he's always doing his Bible speeches and that. Homestead got involved, and next thing I know, this somebody named Montegraph, who I don't know where it came from. He just came out of the blue, and I'm starting to get comments on my old Twitter account, and we had it dust up, and he quietly left me alone. I've got some good people that work with me, and that was it, I thought. And then the next thing I know, I get a communication from this woman, Kim Picasio. No, I'm sorry. I get a communication from the Telford Russian, who's a guy that worked with Field McConnell from the very beginning of Naval Danger. Again, I don't pretend to know these guys. I've gotten to know the Telford Russian more.
Very, aristocratic for you to present it like that.
Well, the people that we're dealing with are not well, and they need help. Some of them are going to need to be exterminated from our existence, and some of them are going to need some help.
I can't play that.
And some of them.
I'm sorry.
Back to the Children's Army.
Yeah.
So I contacted Field McConnell on, and I ended up doing a broadcast, and Jenny Moonstone came on, and we talked about how we were going to tell the public about what we were doing publicly. And there was a misunderstanding between Field and I don't really need to get into what it was. And it wasn't about finances or anything. It was about something that happened in terms of a failure in the broadcast, and I wanted it corrected, and it didn't get corrected. And I raised an issue that caused a divide between Field and I for about 6 or 7 months. Okay. And then he had a situation where somebody, I guess, contacted him and wanted to talk to me. And so that reignited our communication. This happened about 4 or 5 times in the 10 years we've known each other, 9 years we've known each other. And so we started talking again, and then I told him that I had some information on what was going to go down on July 4th. So I contacted Field McConnell on, and I ended up doing a broadcast, and Jenny Moonstone came on, and we talked about how we were going to tell the public about what we were doing publicly. But they had rebranded the Children's Army, which is this, to the Children's Crusade.
Okay.
Tuesday monologue, take 2. This is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1 Live, and today I'm going to discuss an accusation. Now, there is an individual who goes by the handle Agent Margaritaville who was arrested in Canada quite recently. Prior to his arrest, Agent Margaritaville sat down for an interview with another Canadian individual and discussed certain individuals. And one of the individuals was Field McConnell, another was someone we all affectionately call Timmy Hoffa. And there were some other people named, and of course there are accusations swirling around about Agent Margaritaville quite frequently by a supporter, Randy Lynn Erickson, of Timmy Hoffa, about Agent Margaritaville. Now this back and forth between the Hoffa group and the Margaritaville individual has been going on for quite some time, and there really hasn't been a clear understanding of why. A lot of people chalked it up to Timmy Hoffa being jealous of anyone doing what he claims to be doing, and that is trying to end abuses of various kinds against children. But perhaps there's something more sinister going on as to why there has been this unfettering criticism of Agent Margaritaville. As it turns out, when you listen to this excerpt, you are going to see that Agent Margaritaville is accusing Timmy Hoffa of being a fraud. And not only is he accusing Timmy Hoffa of being a fraud, he seems to be accusing Timmy Hoffa and other people of embezzlement. And that embezzlement would be to the tune of $700,000, or getting quite close to $1 million. Now, there is no proof of this, of course, other than a phone call that was made and an interview on YouTube. And we go back to what has Timmy Hoffa used as evidence against people: text messages and phone calls and interviews. Hearsay. Which this all is hearsay. So I'm going to present this brief interview with a disclaimer that this is the opinion of Margaritaville. It is solely his opinion. He is solely responsible for his comments. And I am rebroadcasting this as a public service. And I am in the process of trying to contact the individual that owns the YouTube channel where this interview was made. And once I do so and have a conversation with this person, I will do a follow-up. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button. And until the next time, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.
Well, so
It's the default.
We created the Children's Army, and we sort of went underground, and Field was doing the other stuff, and along comes this Tim Homestead guy. I suddenly start getting attacked because I'm involved in attacking this lawyer named Kim Pacasio. And I'm like, what the hell's going on with Able Danger? I haven't had anything to do with Able Danger. But I did in one episode, and I apologize to Kim for this. I called her a skank. I heard that this was this horrible human being that these people had been going after.
Yeah.
And so I called her a skank. Next thing I know, I get this communication from this really, really sweet young woman. And she said, you know, you got this wrong. And I said, well, I don't have anything. I don't even know what this shit's about. I've said repeatedly, I don't want to know this story. It's not my deal.
Yeah.
But they kept dragging me in, and she said, I was a huge Able Danger follower, and I've been listening for years. And something didn't smell right, so I did my own research, and here it is. And she sent me a bunch of stuff, and I never read it all because it would have taken me a week.
Yeah.
But we talked on the phone for a while, and the next thing I know, it's not adding up. I get looking into this thing. I got a call from Kim Pacasio. Sorry, I didn't. This girl contacted me and said, "Can Kim Pacasio talk to you?" And I said, sure, I want to know what the hell's going on, because I reached out to Homestead. I contacted Homestead and I said, would you give me a phone number where I can call you? And he wrote me back and said, I don't have a phone number. And I thought, okay, maybe it's because he's top secret Pentagon pedophile task force material, journalist.
Could be, you don't want spam.
And so I just, okay, but I want to know why people are threatening me for no reason and threatening my people. Like, I've talked about some people that have suffered because of this work. This isn't bullshit.
Touching on some tricky subjects.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and we're not out there asking people for money or anything. We've been doing this. We've been doing this because people have wanted to do it. So I spoke with Kim Pacasio, and we spoke for a couple of hours, and she told me, she said, they're online threatening my life. And I'm thinking, and she said, I've got children. And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck's going on at Able Danger? Because I don't listen to it. Anyway, I talked with Kim, she ended up calling me back later and she said, listen, is this going to hurt your people? She did some research into us and she realized that we were more sort of different from what the Tim Holmes death, let's kill a woman in Florida because I said that 10 years ago some woman said something on a phone call. This guy just seems to create reality out of fiction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we started this. I got the Tim Holmes death thing came up. Holmes death guy, he apparently has told Field a lot of things, including the fact that he's the only journalist alive that's been selected by Donald and Melania Trump to represent information from the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. I get looking into this thing. I got a call from Kim Picasio. Sorry, I didn't. This girl contacted me and said, "Can Kim Picasio talk to you?" And I said, "Sure. I want to know what the hell's going on," because I reached out to Homestead. I contacted Homestead and I said, "Would you give me a phone number where I can call you?" And he wrote me back and said, "I don't have a phone number." And I thought, okay, maybe it's because he's top secret Pentagon Pedophile Task Force material journalist.
Could be. You don't want spam.
And so I just, okay, but I want to know why people are threatening me for no reason and threatening my people. Like, I spoke with Kim Picasio, and we spoke for a couple of hours, and she told me, she said, they're online threatening my life. And I'm thinking, and she said, I've got children. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on at Able Danger? Because I don't listen to it. So I asked one of my folks, I said, listen, I don't have time for Able Danger, but because I get people write me and say, what can I do for you this week? Sort of different from what the Tim Holmes death, let's kill a woman in Florida because I said that 10 years ago some woman said something on a phone call. This guy just seems to create reality out of fiction.
Yeah.
We did put a call out for equipment once,
Okay.
which we can always use because we have people that have iPads that are filled with stuff.
I know it well.
You don't
too.
necessarily want to send some of this shit back to the cloud.
No, I get it.
You know what I
I
mean?
know too well. I know too well.
So if anybody does want to help with equipment, they can reach out to him and he'll find a way to help us.
That's Rick Boswick at Outlook.com.
And we'll keep a full accounting of it. But anyway, yeah, we have people who offered us equipment and money and everything from the Able Danger, which has helped with some travel and things like that. And but I got looking into it, and this Homestead thing, I said, well, what's with this Pentagon Pedophile Task Force? Nobody could find anything about it. We knew about the President's Task Force, again, because I told you we talked about it on Able Danger. So made some other inquiries and found out that this guy is probably full of shit.
Okay.
And everything that Ms. Picasio said to me added up. And she gave me the time, right? So she called me and she said, am I going to hurt your group if we get Field McConnell charged? I said, what are you going to have him charged with? And she told me, she said, these are the allegations. And she said, my kids and I have been living in a motel. I had to shut my law firm down. There's police cars out in front of my house because people are threatening to kill me online. And I'm getting threatening phone calls. Now, it's not just some of the people from the little fringe people from Able Danger who might have been energized by this Tim Holmes death stuff. But there's also the fact that people that might want to make my work and the work of Field McConnell and others look bad. I started to look at this thing and thought, what the hell? Kim called me and she said that he's going to be charged. And I said, well, if he's done the crime, he's got to do the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not here about politics. I'm a Steelers wheelian. If they were threatening her and the Field was instigated again, then he had to deal with it. And so I said, well, if you're going to charge him, then charge him. So she did. So I've been accused of somehow causing him to be arrested.
Okay.
When after I had the conversation with her, I called Field and I recorded it, 2.5 hours of it. And Field and I talked, and he told me all the reasons why he wasn't concerned about these charges, and they all based on Timothy Charles Holmes' death's direct connection to Melania Trump.
Yeah.
And how Donald Trump and Timothy Holmes' death they were texting each other, which is fascinating because that Tim told me he didn't have his phone number.
Okay.
So I just figured maybe it was a secure thing or something. But then I saw a video and he was sleeping in his car and using the Wi-Fi at McDonald's to upload.
Okay.
And I figured, I don't know about you, but if that's the best the Secret Service can do to protect a guy who's the only investigative reporter for the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force,
Then not enough money is allocated, apparently.
Well, I'm a little frightened myself then, because I've got some people that say that they're in my corner, right? And I don't know if that's true, but I got a corner. So anyway, so stay there. So I finally, I talked with Field for 2.5 hours, and I told him, and we talked about jail, because I've been there for 17 months. I don't pretend to be an expert in terms of long term, but I knew that Field was going to go through some stuff. And so he knew he was going to go through some stuff, but he wasn't afraid because he was being protected by Timothy Charles Homestead's Pentagon Pedophile Task Force buddies. And I said, have you met any of these buddies? And he told me something about a golf. He got taken to a golf course with a bunch of people that would only refer to themselves as A, B, or C.
Okay,
and it was a long, rambling story, and I was late, and I really didn't care by the time it was over. I said, okay, Field, whatever. So there's been some communication, but one of the things I'm going to say about, well, I said about Kim Picasio, she's the only one that actually reached out to
time.
Well, she's going like, what the hell's going on here? Why am I being threatened by these people? Because she realized Field's only one guy, but he's the guy that could have pulled the switch on the thing. Except that he's got this Timothy Homestead guy, who, by the way, Tim, what are you going to say about me now? You've said I'm a wacko. Yeah. Because of that, Tim, I'm going to repost the video of you playing with your penis while you're talking onto the camera, because I think that's a fun one. Have you seen it with him with the chicken?
I have not, no.
This guy's a whack job. And you should be apologizing to the people of Able Danger who stole all the money from. And you should be apologizing to the to Donald and Melania Trump and these people who have been working and fighting and some of them dying to free this world, Tim. Well, you're milking this shit. Because if you're part of the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, give us the goddamn phone number so we can call them and see if the approximate over $700,000. I didn't know until we went through the emails. And we figured out, I got an email where they did $52,000 in tips on the one program.
Wow.
And they did like 28 programs or something like that. And so we did the math, and it's got to be over $700,000 that came in to Timothy Charles Homestead. And these women, Kathy McHale is one. She's turned on me. I thought Kathy was my friend. As soon as she turned on me, I knew she was in on it. Because Fields always talked about these people who were managing his affairs. And poor Field, and I said it before, I love Field. He's as big an asshole as I am. And you could just know, Field, that I had your back all along. And you know that. I've got the emails to prove it, where I warned you about this fucking guy. But as it is, that this Tim Homestead guy has kind of derailed that whole Able Danger world. And there's a lot of people that are now flocking over and say, hey, okay, so what's going to happen next? And what's going to happen next is we're going to continue to do what Field wanted to do all along. And I reach out to David Hawkins and say, if you want to contact me anytime, David, Field, please, you know you can contact me. We got to talk about possibly getting your charges dealt with so you can get back on the air. Because I've reached out to Field's wife, and I've reached out to some people that need to be reached out to assure that we might be able to put a deal together where Field could actually, put this behind him and get back on the air. But he has to agree to the terms that they want to make, and that's how it works. This isn't that this is a big conspiracy to keep Field in jail. He did some shit that he got charged for. If he doesn't think he's guilty, then he can defend himself. He has a right to. But if he does think he's guilty, and he does think that it might be better to put it behind him and keep going, that's what you do, right? That's what men do. They don't lie about pedophile Pentagon task force and raise $750,000 so they can, I don't know where that money ended up. And as far as the Tim Homestead, I'm going to ask you to just tell the world what the phone number of this Pentagon pedophile task force that you raised over $700,000 on Able Danger for, you and Kathy McHale and the others, and while lying to Field McConnell all the time and then ginning things up and threatening this Kim Picasio woman who you've terrorized for 10 years by creating an incident and attributing it to them. So the Children's Army has got to deal with the Children's Crusade issues and the fact that Tim Homestead got Field McConnell thrown in jail. And now I'm being blamed for it, and all by these morons that have not done any research. But I'm being supported by Oh, I don't know. I think last time we saw messages coming in, we're up to 150,000 messages.
And I am in the process of trying to contact the individual that owns the YouTube channel where this interview was made. And once I do so and have a conversation with this person, I will do a follow-up. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button. And until the next time, this is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1. Have a good one.